Hello, Janksters, and welcome to another edition of the MagicJank Podcast, the weekly show where members of Team MagicJank get together and we talk about the latest happenings in Magic the Gathering. And this week's going to be a fun one. We are in the midst of Tarkir Dragonstorm spoiler season, so we're still we're midway through. We're nearing the end, but we've seen some real bangers since last week, and we're going to break them down. And I'm not going to do it alone. I am joined by the one and only HeadologyMagic. How are we doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then we also have the newest member of Team MagicJank. Welcome, and I got to say the timing is very apropos. Jund and Dragon expert, Astralsflame himself. How we doing, man? Welcome.
I'm doing good. Expert might be a stretch, but
No, you are. You understand all about you are our dragonologist, our senior dragon correspondent already. You're just so you know. And so I'm very curious to hear
Dragon
your
Master.
takes. Exactly. On all things draconic as we go forward. It's very exciting, I gotta say. And welcome to the team, man. It's great to have you.
I am super hyped.
Heck yeah, man. So yeah, this guy streams, by the way.
If
If you want to see
in the
Jund and
back
Dragons,
there?
definitely do that. What's up?
Did you choose the Sultai or the Teamer in the back there?
Oh, that's Teamer.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Teamer.
so-
Yeah. But I haven't quite gotten it close. I was gonna guess Teamer, but then I was like, what if it's Sultai? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, the Teamer Spirit Dragon is behind Astrals for folks watching the video feed. And I gotta say, it's good. It looks good on you. I think it's good. I mean, obviously we don't have Jund, so you gotta work with what you got. Yeah. I get
You
it.
deal
Was
with
that
it,
a
you
Remy,
know.
I believe? Yeah.
Yep, you're ready.
Yep. That card's pretty good. We actually talked about that. Damien and I talked about that card last week. Not to bury the lead or anything. It's real good. All right.
Further
So,
incentive for Teamer to ramp. Oh no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an 8-drop, and it really kind of highlights, and we talked about it a lot last week as well, but I'll go ahead and reiterate because it's fun. Protection from white and black that's on this card. If you're going to have protection from anything, those are the things you want protection from.
Yes.
Yeah. It's real good. Cool.
Because red can't handle a 10/10 all that easily, and blue is just going to put it back in your hand so you can do it again.
Yep, and it has a strong ETB, so sure, let's just trigger that again.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks, blue. Yep. It's pretty
I'm
red.
okay with this.
That's
Yep,
that's
it'll be
just
all right.
rough.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty silly. So that card's pretty good, and coming to a draft table near you, which that'll be fun. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
I hate
more to
it.
come on that. More to come on that later. So we've had a lot of phenomenal spoilers, and we're gonna try to touch on the newer ones, but we also only were able to get to so much last week because Damien and I spent 20 minutes on everything. That's just what we do. So let's go ahead and just jump right on into it. Tarkir Dragonstorm has a bunch of cycles in it. Because we have the 5 clans represented, they have decided to give each clan kind of their own, I don't know, they've decided to complete a bunch of cycles, including sagas. Every clan has a fable of their clan's history that is depicted in a saga. For example, we have Revival of the Ancestors, which is the Abzan one. I just picked the Abzan because I'm super biased because Abzan's the best. Also, for the folks on the video, I've got Anna Fenza with her arm around me on my background. No big deal, just saying. So Revival of the Ancestors is a saga for 4, 1 white, black, green. Chapter 1, you create 3 1/1 spirit creature tokens. Chapter 2, distribute 3 1/1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. And then Chapter 3, creatures you control gain trample and lifelink until end of turn. So this is just one example. I would love to get your guys' thoughts. The sagas in general, how do we feel about these? Do they look impressive? Do you think they're going to be impactful for either Standard, Limited, Commander? What are your thoughts on these? The floor is open.
I'm really excited to have some more sagas for my Tom Bombadil deck. So there aren't that many sagas that are truly impressive in what they do. I think Binding of the Gods is still at Uncommon one of the best sagas that's ever been printed.
It's amazing. Yep.
Yeah, you've got Kiora Best of Sea God and a few others, but Kiora's Best of Sea God was an unbelievable bomb in Limited, but not so much in Commander, obviously. So there are some really good sagas out there. There's a couple that do quite a bit. But having more to choose from is really, really nice, even though none of them are just like spectacularly crazily what you really want to do.
Sure.
They're a little underpowered, but that's what I like about Bombadil anyway, is the whole deck in general is not that powerful. I'm not really about running powerful so much as jank, hence why I'm part of this team.
Absolutely. The jank
so
spirit
I'm
is
really
alive and
happy
well.
to see the sagas. I think they're going to be, very powerful and limited as anything that gets you multiple pieces of value for free over the course of a couple turns does, right? Essentially, like the first thing that happens isn't always the most powerful, but then you get two things free happening the next couple turns, and that is accrued value that does matter. And so some of them will be stronger than others, and we'll go into that when we go into limited later. But anyway, but I am just really excited to have some sagas and some of these sagas will go in other decks, of course, right? 3/1 white spirit creature tokens could go in your Gave Guru of Spores deck. It could go in any sort of populate deck or thing that wants to sacrifice tokens, like Gave does. But so there's lots of stuff, and I'm really excited about the sagas. The fact that each clan gets one is super sweet, and there are some that are like uncommon that are like 2 colors, I think, as well. So yeah. I'm happy about them.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, Bombadil gets tools.
And you mentioned Binding the Old Gods. I completely agree. I love that card. It is in
And yes,
every Commander
this is
deck
one
I
that I
have.
was really excited for. The Awaken the Honored Dead. Sorry.
Awaken the Honored Dead. I just pulled it up with the video. Awaken the Honored Dead is the first saga that truly reminds me of Binding the Old Gods, and so more of those are just sweet. It's a 3-drop in Sultide. Chapter 1, destroy target non-land permanent. Chapter 2, mill 3 cards.
That's just
Chapter
going
3,
automatically in Bombadil. Yeah. It's
100%.
so good. The first part is all I need. The mill 3 cards is the next one. You may discard a card when you do return target creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. That's just a way to get more value. The first part is the important part on a saga, which, yeah.
I saw this one, like Awaken the Honored Dead, and immediately my thought just went to all right, I'm getting Binding of the Old God vibes. Because that first chapter at 3 mana itself is just crazy value. Blow up anything.
But it's expensive for that
because
it's a commitment to all 3 colors.
Yeah, it is. But
even
with
mana being so good these days in EDH, it's not a really big deal.
That's all right.
Well, even in Standard, our standard decks for lands, we are spoiled. You maybe run 4 or 5 basics in a dual colored deck, if that.
Right.
And
you have the
I'm staring at
you have the that's true.
Yeah, fast land, Verges,
fast lands. It's
everything in between. We have our our surveil lands on top of that too. But I look at this thing and I go, okay, I get to blow something up, I get to mill something, and we already have a bunch of decks right now in Standard that are milling makes me happy. Let's throw stuff in the bin. And okay, there's this Simic mill deck that mills instants and sorceries and tosses in a Crab and a Tolarian Terror, and I'm like, so you're telling me 3 mana you're gonna blow something up, get a bunch of sorceries in, and then mill something. Maybe you bring back your Crab, your Terror, and I gotta stare down another 5/5 Crab that you're flashing in on my turn again. I'm not here for it.
Yeah,
I'm not excited.
Having crabs doesn't excite you?
Not in the slightest.
Yikes. That sounds like a scratchy, itchy situation. Anyway, so So Awaken the Honored Dead, absolutely fantastic. The other thing we've talked about, the Coordinated Battlefield, the new collected company for non-lands, or non-creatures rather. This all of a sudden, it's a 3 mana non-creature permanent. There are plenty of interactions with that. So
yeah. I feel like that's not going to be as good in EDH as it is going to be in Standard.
Yeah,
because just probably 3 mana non-creature permanent is just in a huge deck like that is well, I mean, you could get lands. I suppose.
I don't know that you can. I think it's
I think it's non-land.
Yeah, I think it's non-land too. Okay, but when you said, I was second guessing myself because when you said it was non-creature, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe you could get lands. But I think I remember reading it. Yeah, non-land, non-creature, and I feel like that's just going to be kind of awful at sorcery speed in Commander because you're just not going to be guaranteed to get that because your mana, just by the virtue of having a 100-card deck, you're going to have or 99. You're gonna have a lot less chance of hitting mana value 3 or less unless your entire deck is built around it, in which case go you. And there are some cards in this that do reward 3 or less, usually Abzan, I think. Abzan actually has a lot that matters with 3 or less, but it's usually creatures. So,
yeah. I mean, hey, I love Sun Titan as much as the next guy. I would gladly build a deck all about that. I see no issue with it.
Give it a shot. That'll be cool.
All 3 drops. Yeah. 3-drop typal. Let's do this. So another cycle that we're seeing that we have touched on a little bit because they've been they paced these out are the sieges. So I think the sieges are an interesting design, and we've seen a couple really good ones since last week that I definitely want to touch on. And the one I want to use as the example here is Glacier Wood Siege, which is not looking good on my. Sorry, everybody.
I could read it.
I know, but let me get it aligned correctly. So Glacier Wood Siege, it is a 3-drop, a 1 green blue. As this enchantment enters, you choose Teamer or Sultai, and you'll notice it's the 2 colors that they share. Teamer, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target player mills 4 cards. Sultai, you may play lands from your graveyard.
Now that second part is the one that excites me.
How rad is this? Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously Simic is the the landfall deck that we deserve. Well, that's a fun one. I like that one.
Yeah. This thing absolutely rules. It's Flora's Crucible of Worlds. Like, okay.
I feel like they flipped it though. Like, I feel like Sultai should be caring about the milling, and Teamer should be about the lands because Teamer's got the landfall cards.
I do as well. When I saw that was the first thing I noticed. Is I was like, and on it wasn't that. So the thing is, I don't think they flipped it on purpose. If they did flip it, I think they might have made a mistake. Because on the other sieges, I was looking at those, and those seem to be appropriate to the clan that they're talking about. Because Teamer is obviously has the red-blue aspect of it, and instants and sorceries are mostly there, right? And milling cards, right, is
graveyards matter.
Sultai. Yeah. But play lands from your graveyard is all... Black doesn't care about playing lands from the graveyard so much, as far as I know.
Right.
So it's just like, I think all part of it seems Teamer except for the milling, and that seems Sultai. So it really did surprise me that, like, I feel like they should have said, right, so something else for Teamer whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, sure. But play lands from a graveyard should have been Teamer, and target player mills 4 cards should have been Sultai.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, even the instants and sorcery part, though, is a little confusing because, like, instants and sorceries are like Jeskai. Teamer's been about big creatures getting
big creatures the whole way. Yeah. So I felt like it should have been, it could have been like whenever you play a creature this turn, you may play lands from your graveyard, right? And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, target player mills 4 cards or something like that. I don't know. Or whenever a card leaves your graveyard, target player mills 4 cards. I don't know. But like this one confused me a lot. So I'm glad somebody else noticed that too. But if you look at, just pick one of the other sieges, any one. I'm glad sieges are back. They were a big thing from cons. So Citadel Siege was like crazy and limited. Outpost Siege was also crazy and limited. Getting you an extra card per turn most frequently, and the other one was +1 was on counters. But if you look at this one, right, Sultai, whenever a counter is placed on a creature you control, draw a card. That's fine. It's not quite what I would assume. Sultai was all about milling and getting value from Delve, and sacrifice, and making people sacrifice things. Abzan, whenever you attack, put a +1 counter on target attacking creature, gains menace until end of turn. Sure, absolutely. That's very Abzan. So this one seems much more to fit its 2 clans.
Yeah, and we're looking at the
one,
Hollow
even though
Siege,
Sultai, I would pick something else, but yeah. Sorry, you were saying, Ham?
Oh, I was just saying that for the folks doing the audio, we're looking at the Hollow Merc Siege, which is an enchantment for 2 that is the Sultai Abzan. So it's black and green. Yeah. And the Sultai mode, whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, you draw a card, but it only triggers once each turn. Okay. And then Abzan, whenever you attack, you put a 1/1 counter on one attacking creature, and it gains menace till end of turn. So
is the story of these, are the clans fighting each other?
Yes, my understanding is it shows conflicts between the clans. I'm assuming, in the story there wasn't a big theme about the clans battling each other necessarily, and I'm afraid I don't know my
I should look up the story more. I'm gonna familiarize with the story before. So the story before it comes out, but this one, like, I don't understand why the clans are fighting, and if they're fighting, would it be an amalgamation? It looks like it's meant to be an amalgamation of the 2, but each ability, I'm sure the game designers have explanations for these that I don't understand, but again,
Right.
some of them, mostly just that one card that we just reviewed, the one siege, the Simic one.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot of sense. Like this Abzan is pure Abzan, definitely, absolutely, sure. But
Absolutely.
maybe the drawing a card for Sultai, but Sultai was literally mill and sacrifice the first time. So I don't understand why a counter. I suppose it's so you can have multiple Hollow Merc sieges and have them both benefit. Do you see? So if you have
I can see that.
2 Hollow Merc sieges, you can choose 1 Sultai, 1 Abzan, and get both of the triggers to occur. So basically, you have you attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on target attack and creature, it gains menace until end of turn on one. Then the other one triggers on the counter being placed, and you draw a card. So I think they're meant to be played in multiples, and so the first ability or the second ability are meant to feed off of each other. If we look at the first one, the Simic one, what does that one look like when it goes together? I suppose they had to. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, no. I mean, technically, yes. You cast an instant or sorcery, you mill 4 cards yourself, and then you can play lands from your graveyard.
Yeah,
that makes
I can
sense.
see how that kind
yourself
of
for
fits.
4 cards and do that. The Teamer one does not feel like Teamer at all to me. It has nothing to do with creatures, and Teamer was literally all about creatures, so I don't understand this one very much. I do see now how it plays off of each other if you have 2 of them in play. So I think the sieges are meant to have multiples in a deck so that you can make them flow into one another. It looks like they were designed that way to me.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it was mechanics before flavor, perhaps.
Yeah,
The other thing, when it comes to Teamer in this set, there seems to be a theme around playing creatures and non-creatures. Like there are a couple of things that trigger off of both. So they definitely want you to have kind of a spell package to support your big stompy monsters. That seems to be kind of the idea. So, but at the same time, this definitely benefits.
It sounds like they're trying to work some Jeskai into that with the prowess theme.
Yeah.
It feels like they're trying to make it. So I get that, because oftentimes when you have these clans, you want the 2 color pairings to be able to be played as well. And they did that in the original cons as well. They wanted you to be primarily 2 colors with a splash of another one. Oftentimes you could make it with the land fixing. You could make 3 color decks in limited, for example, but they wanted you to be able to play the 2 colors. And so it's possible that they want to have these sieges still reward you for doing what blue does, which sometimes has to not be Teamer but be Jeskai. So prowess versus the other. Anyway, sorry, that's a lot on that one, but yeah,
it's valid though, because some of the sieges, they work really well together, and I think now that you're mentioning it, like the first ability feeding into the second ability, that makes a lot more sense. I can kind of see that, and that ties in.
Yeah.
This just makes me more scared for the Simic mill deck, though, that does the crabs and the terrors, man. Because you do like a Seed of Hope with this. Oh, I mill myself 4 more cards. Now, I don't need to miss land drops. I can just play a land from the bin. Hey, I've got a crab in my hand. I've got the
For those of you at home, Ham is waving his thumbs up gleefully and smiling and doing a happy little dance. And Astrals is, in my opinion, validly critiquing the fact that this is going to happen.
That's fair. We have River Churn Monument legal, and I was saying, since I remember being on a Phyrexia All Will Be One, on the reveal stream when Jace the Perfected Mind came out, and I remember saying, yo guys, this is awesome. And a whole bunch of this is like the worst Jace we've ever seen. What's going on here? Calm down, guys. It's going to be great. Trust me. And yeah.
It's great. It's
I'm here
great.
for it.
It certainly is.
Let's get our mill going. I'm not mad at this.
For certain meanings of the word great.
So yes, if you like your graveyards and you like
certain
insisting other people have a graveyard, yeah, we're doing that. It's happening. Speaking of having a graveyard, let's take a look at another card that they released that has a really interesting design that is all about graveyards in kind of a unique way. Also, there's a design philosophy or kind of a trend that we've seen as of late of black creatures just being absolutely gigantic, with the downside being kind of negligible. And that continues. This time with Rot Curse Rakshasa. This is a 5/5 for 2 with trample. Now, it does have Decayed. So you get one good hit with it and then it dies. And it can't block ever. So Decayed is a pretty massive downside, but it has this other ability, which is Renew, which is the keyword ability for Sultai, where if it's in your graveyard, you can activate Renew, which is X, black, black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a Decayed counter on each of X target creatures. You can only do that as a sorcery. What are our thoughts on this thing?
Yeah, this is so cool. So okay. So number one, this is for me, for EDH, this thing is freaking fantastic and it's going right in my Marin deck. Because not only does it sacrifice itself for Marin to get an experience counter, but it can then get value out of the graveyard even if I don't want to put it back into play. It can make sure that X target creatures can only attack me once. Me and my little spore frog. Once. But I think it's got huge utility in most black decks in EDH just because of that ability. Giving your opponent's creatures Decayed is huge. They get one attack and that's it, and then they have to sacrifice them. That's fantastic. And I'm sure it's going to do stupid things in Standard that I don't want to think about, that Ham can talk about anyway. But that would be my thoughts for EDH. It is super, super sweet for EDH. I like it. It's also a demon for your Liliana synergies. If you want to have 5 demons with different names and play Liliana's, which is 5 mana. There's 3 and 2 black, and it allows you to go and draw 4 cards, lose 4 life, and then if you control, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. I'm running that in my Changeling deck, so I'm excited.
Fair enough.
But yes, goodness. But this is, I mean, it's a good card. It's really good, and I'm really excited about it. And I think it's mean, but meaner than I normally am, but it seems like fun.
This thing just seems pushed to me. Like, I look at this, okay, 2 mana, 5/5, great. It dodges cut down. I think that's amazing on its own. You have to feed in a Go for the Throat or Annoying Affliction. Like, you're spending premium removal to get rid of this thing. Even if it hits the bin, I'm not worried. If I'm playing like an aggressive strategy, it's turn 4, you have a Shieldred, and I've got, I don't know, I'm playing Rakdos aggro with a Hired Claw and some other Lizzies. I'm gonna, bust this out of the graveyard. Guess what? Your Shieldred has Decayed. It can't block.
Yeah.
Like that is an offensive mechanic, forcing a creature to not block. That baffles my mind. It does that.
Yeah. It can only attack me once and it can't block. It's so good.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an alternative marketplace online for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed products, I have great news for you. MagicJank.com is an online marketplace for people who love all Magic the Gathering has to offer, even the jankier bits. Join the MagicJank marketplace with your own storefront. Whether you're a small business or a hobbyist with more bulk lying around than you'd like, MagicJank.com can help your products reach new customers who love the game as much as you do. Now let's get back to the episode. Yeah, so I'm inclined to agree. I think this thing is definitely pushed. As a fight rigging enthusiast, I love seeing 5 power on a 2-drop. That looks awesome. I know it doesn't trigger fight rigging right on 3, but triggering on 4 was the whole name of the game anyway, so give another thing for them to worry about. And that Renew, it's basically a board wipe in aggressive strategies, just like Astrals was saying. The idea of denying blockers, I know there's... Astrals, actually, I know you've been working on like Jund Delirium aggro decks. Like this seems insane in a shell like that.
This fits in there. Fits in there.
So yeah, I'm here for it.
And it's not legendary, so you can run 5. I mean 4. They still have 4 limits in non-limited formats where play boosters might give you up to 5.
Yeah, 5 mythics. If you pull it off, yeah.
Seriously.
I would not want to be the player against a limited deck with 5 of those in it. Turn 2.
Man.
You don't want to be the player against a limited deck with 1 of those in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that too.
I don't want to be the limited player when they're printing these stupid cards. Some of which don't even make Standard.
No,
and
actually,
and then they crush us in limited, and we're like, who are these for? Like, the 5 mana 8/8 in Ether Drift, like this card. At least this card I understand because at least it's gonna make Standard. Like, at least it's gonna make Standard.
But yeah,
like the 5 mana 8/8 is just good for my little Dino Commander deck, which is nice, but it's not like the Commander players aren't that excited about that dinosaur just because they've got better dinosaurs at 5.
Right.
Oddly enough, and like So it just makes me suffer as a limited player. So thanks, Wizards.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just gonna try to dovetail off of that. I was gonna, but think about the Rock Curse Rakshasa and graveyard strategies, and perhaps cards that won't make it in Standard. And actually, this one I'll be surprised if limited is particularly great. But the mechanic is interesting, and I think
it's for my mirror. I brought this one up because I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, so Sidisi, Sidisi, Regent of the Mire, is a 1/3 for 1 and a black with tap, sacrifice a creature you control with mana value X other than Sidisi. Return target creature card with mana value X+1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery.
So it's a pod for your graveyard.
Grave pod.
And it's perfect in Marin. It is literally perfect in Marin. It's
so
also
good.
really good in zombie decks.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you can, obviously you can, using your decayed zombies that Jadar produces or whatever, like, I think it's Jadar, you can, sacrifice a mana value 0 to get a mana value 1 from your graveyard. You can get your whatever you want back from that. But you could also do something bigger, which is better, faster, stronger, right? And get back your better zombies. But again, for Marin, it's a recurring sacrifice outlet to get your experience counters up. And so I really like it. I think it's fantastic for those reasons. I think it's a little slow for the most zombie decks, I think, but it's really good for Marin. But it still works for the zombies. It's nice. And any sacrifice, obviously there's going to be people out there who are running like aristocrats type things. This will be very good for that as well.
Yeah.
So say they kill your Mayhem Devil and then you're just like, haha, Sidisi.
Yep.
I want that back. I'm going to sacrifice a 2-drop for that Mayhem Devil. Seems good. And wouldn't it be a shame if my 2-drop when it died pinged you for 2?
Oh no. Yeah.
The horror.
So like, there's a lot. I think I see a lot of uses for this. I don't think it's like a bomb or anything like that, but that's part of why it excites me is it's more an intricate play area as a lot of sorcery speed podding is, and it requires stuff to be in your graveyard. So there's a lot of stuff, and zombies leaving your graveyard or creatures leaving your graveyard also do all sorts of things for you these days. So I'm excited for this little kind of weird dude, snake dude.
I'm here for it.
Oh, it's snake lady. I don't actually know snake them. I don't know if snake Sidisi is gendered.
Actually, I always assumed Sidisi was female, but I don't know that for sure. I think that might be a linguistic thing I'm locking onto.
Oh, wait. Her time. Her
Oh, there we
time.
go.
Her time
Perfect.
and power.
Oh,
we
yeah,
can
there.
actually just look at the dang flavor text.
It's right there on the flavor text, of course.
Sorry, CDC lady.
Excellent.
Okay. So snake lady
Fun zombie snake lady.
is helping out a lot of different decks. Maybe not in a super uber powerful way, but in a really interesting way that I like.
Heck yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
When I first saw this,
definitely...
yeah. Oh, Astros, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, this is just such a unique mechanic. Like, we see pod for, like, artifacts with repurposing bay. We've seen pod itself for creatures. Pod for the graveyard is new. Like, it's different.
It's fun. I'm so excited about it. I really wanted to talk about this one. This one made me happy to see first off.
I'm here for it. It's funny.
Every iteration of CDC has been interesting. The most powerful iteration is probably still the one that exploits and tutors.
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
But this one has a home in my art. So there we are.
I love it. Well, and it's funny because when I first saw this, I was thinking about ways. So I'm probably potting wrong. So all old school modern players, I'm sorry, but when I think of birthing pod, I think of having some kind of chain that I'm trying to work my way up. Because I did a lot of things with like Vanifar, trying to turn like a 1-drop into a 6-drop. Like I like those kind of combos. But in reality, I feel like pod is probably at its best when you just have like a ton of like good 2s and 3s, and you can just kind of bounce between them or upgrade them just consistently.
In modern, pod was you would always have a card that was an answer to something specifically.
Ah, nice. Okay,
so
that makes sense.
What pod was a way to fetch up an answer right away, and you always had that answer in your deck somewhere, and it was a way to just go find it immediately and put it onto the battlefield.
Awesome.
So it was like the silver bullets basically.
And if this is going to try to imitate that in practice, you got to mill like crazy to get those. So the tutor value here is nowhere near as good as a traditional pod going into the library.
Well, you can see, isn't Verena, is that the zombie Esper Lord that mills stuff into the graveyard?
I am not familiar.
Sidisi herself mills as well, right? Remember the original Sidisi? So the Sidisi of the past works well with the Sidisi of the present, which is pretty cool. So the Sultai Sidisi did mill things, and then Brood Tyrant 1 and Sultai mana 3/3 when it enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into a graveyard from your library, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So that one will mill for the new one to get stuff back from.
Perfect.
But the Verena Lich Lord, I think it is, or something like that. Lich Lord.
Lich Lord.
Okay. That one, the Esper Commander, I think that one also mills, if I'm not mistaken. Do you see it?
I'm having a tough time finding it, I'm afraid.
Verena, Virina.
Bam, Lich Queen.
There it is.
Yep,
Varina, Varina. Yes, Lich Queen. Yeah, whenever you attack with one or more zombies, draw that many cards, then discard that many cards. So that puts it in the graveyard rather than milling. You gain that much life. And you can pay 2, exile 2 target cards from your graveyard, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. But you won't need that because you're potting with the stuff that you get. So I suspect that this goes very well in Verena.
Oh, absolutely. I think any heavy mill, and don't get me wrong, I'm all about living that mill lifestyle. So I'm not saying that, that Sidisi is bad in any way. I like it a lot, actually. I know I recently, in tinkering with Repurposing Bay, had a little bit of a kind of change of heart or kind of a new perspective on how to play pod effects, because I actually I wish I remembered which of my viewers submitted it, but a viewer submitted a deck list that was Repurposing Bay, and the curve topped out at 3. And I remember thinking, like, why don't you have any like powerful 4-drops in here? Like, why aren't you getting up to like Bystone, Weakstone? Like, why are you stopping at 3? And then I realized, well, Simulacrum Synthesizer and a whole bunch of other things that trigger Simulacrum Synthesizer at 3. Like, why would I not, like, give me any reason to not just go grab another one of those?
And actually, that Simulacrum Synthesizer deck might be the deck that really wants that white Coco.
Completely agree. Yes. I think that's the perfect fit for it. Yeah.
Because you can hit a Simulacrum Synthesizer, you can hit any of the... There's actually a ton of artifacts at 3 that you can hit that are really good for that.
You can hit 2.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. And so, like, obviously, in EDH, we have a million ways to mill a huge chunk. We have cards like Buried Alive, Entomb, all these different ways to, like, and I'm sure there are going to be crazy things with, Gravebreaker Lamia into some crazy 6. Like, people are going to be doing that stuff, and I love it. You crazy Commander nerds, keep doing what you're doing. It's beautiful. But, and like, Sidisi will absolutely trigger that kind of setup. I love it. Like, again, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm all for it. But as far as Standard is concerned, if any brews with this in Standard are going to be viable, I think we just need to find some insane, powerful, like 2s, 3s, and 4s, and just churn through them and trigger them dying and just get something going there.
Is there any possibility? What you should look for is a loop.
Yes. I agree. And I know Orzhov has a lot of aristocrat support right now and some really nuts. Like, I mean, I kind of want to get this going. Well, okay. I'm biased. Ratadrovic, at 4.
Ratadrovic.
Yeah, the idea of being able to use Sidisi to sacrifice other legends to grab up, and Ratadrovic's a 4-drop. We have, Lorna the Third Path on 3, all kind, a lot of options, and Sidisi being legendary kind of slots into that shell. So, I don't know. There's something there probably, or at least we'll experiment with it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh,
what you got? Insidious Roots.
Hear me out.
You're
right.
hired.
DC with Roots, right? You sack a root token, bring back one of your 1-drops.
Leaving the graveyard,
Yep, 1-drop, and then it triggers that.
And plants.
And then you can do that, if your Ophiomancer's in the graveyard, Tyvar can untap Sidisi. Oh, Ophiomancer's back. Thrill Seeker in the bin and no Soul Calls run. Oh, sack a 2-drop.
Wait a minute.
Get your Thrill Seeker back. That all re-triggers your Roots.
Just blew Ham's mind. Hold on.
A little bit. Because if you have Tyvar down, Tyvar and Osteomancer, you could actually recast Sidisi from the graveyard, tap Sidisi to sacrifice a 1-drop to bring back the other Sidisi, which legend rule, and then because of the Tyvar haste, dog.
Yep, you get where I'm going.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I am 100% here for
the question?
Tyvar gives abilities haste.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
that'll work. That'll work.
We can work with this. Yeah. That's
Just
gross.
continually resack a token and get more. Like,
Oh
So,
yeah.
So yeah, the Sidisi roots loop. That's going to be a new thing. All right, excellent.
Okay, so yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was
that's
excited about this for any number of reasons.
That's a day
and I'm
one.
excited to see it in standard. And I'm
That's
going
a
to
day
point
one
to the
roots
card
upgrade.
and say facetiously, because no, I'm going to be like, that was the first one to be excited about this card. No, I'm sure 80 million other people are like brewing with it already, but like I'm still proud of myself for being like, that's a good card that I want to play with.
Exactly. Yeah, good eye. Which is funny because the first time I saw it, I was like, pod, but it goes to my graveyard. How many options am I really going to get? Like, I was very skeptical at first. And like, dog, just have some fun. Like, open up. Like, let the cool thing happen. Anyway, yeah, that's what that is. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, moving right along down our list of really cool cards we want to talk about. I don't have a good segue for this one. So Herd Heirloom. Let's take a look at this. It's a hat. I love out of all the crazy, awesome, like powerful, magical things, here's just a hat. Like, I'm all for it. It's a very nice hat, to be fair. So
it is pretty nice.
Herd Heirloom, 1 into green. For an artifact with tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. And then it has another ability, tap, until end of turn, target creature you control with power 4 or greater gains trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
So I love this one. This is another one of, I'm sorry that I made us talk about.
No.
It's a mana rock, and it's of any color as long as you're playing a green, base, right? And it's only for creatures, which is what a lot of decks really want to do. So this is particularly unbelievable for your big stompy decks, but dinosaurs in particular love this because dinosaurs do have trouble drawing cards usually. Because it's their tiny little piano playing hands. And so this really helps. But basically any big stompy deck is usually green in base and does have trouble drawing cards. It has fine getting ramp, but sometimes what happens is you ramp to something and then, you attack and you've got just what you have on the board and nothing else is happening. Obviously, dinosaurs do have Gishath, for example, that can find you more dinos, and there's some draw effects there, but you can run things like Elemental Bond and things like that, where when creatures power 3 or greater enters, draw a card. But this is a nice one where, you can attack, and if your dino doesn't happen to have trample, many of the big ones do, but not all of them, it gains trample. This is just a free, like, what's the town, something town thing from OTJ. It was it was a modal spell. And
I can picture the artwork. I cannot think
yes,
of the name to save my life.
Anyway, you can give a creature trample and draw cards when it does damage, to a player in the turn.
Okay.
But more importantly here, it can ramp out something, for power that's, one of your lesser dinosaurs and still let it get in for, in early game, right? For example, when you get in, you can draw a card. So it can ramp out on turn 3 or even less if you have a freaking Soul Ring or some other ramp. It can ramp out a 4 power 4/4, right? Sorry, 4 cost 4/4. And you can get it with haste, and you can get in. There's a dino like that in red, and so it can just make sure that you get to draw your new effects. It's also really good in dragons.
I was about to ask that.
Everybody knew I was going to go there, but I really wanted to do dinosaurs first, just for the surprise. But yes, it's very good in dragons because dragons normally do have haste, and this helps ramp out your dragons. It adds 1 mana of any color, which is perfect for my 5-color Dragon deck. It's also in green, so it's fine for, your Clouth deck. And for all the crazy nutty tricolor clan brews that Astrals has planned for you all, you are definitely watch this space. I am so excited. So I'll pass the on to that. But this is just some great stuff for a bunch of different decks, honestly. And but Astrals has, I'm sure, amazing plans.
I've got some. I actually think this is going to see some play. Suffice to say, like, Commander is definitely an all-star for this, but we are slowly starting to move into a standard where creature decks are finally becoming more prevalent. Like, we're going to have rotation later this year. Finally, some big spells and board clears are going to go. Goodbye, Sunfall. Anyways, but creature decks will start to be prevalent, you know? And if you look at like the Golgari mid-range deck, for example, play a Herd Heirloom. My Shelly comes out on turn 3. My Shelly heals me whenever I draw a card. Shelly now suddenly gets deal combat damage, draw a card. Right? You can pop that in with your Unholy Annex and your Ritual Chamber. You've got a 6/6 demon. You're already drawing off the Unholy Annex. Your demon's now going to do the same. Like this fits in.
Wait. I would like to walk back a little bit there. You're complaining about Sunfall and you're like, oh, my Shelly's going to get in and do more than it already does. Yay.
I'm just saying.
But if you were listening to this, if you hadn't played Standard in the last year, you'd probably be thinking like Sheoldred's clearly the greatest thing ever, right? But like genuinely speaking, like Sheoldred has fallen off dramatically.
She's not the greatest, I know, but
like she's barely seeing play. Like there was a time when she was seeing a ton of play, and there were a bunch of us being like, I don't know why everybody's playing this card. It really ought to drop it, and now they have. Like it's like Sheoldred. Every time I see Sheoldred, it's just like, oh yeah, she's still legal. Like it's not, like I genuinely forget. And so the idea that because 4-drops are almost unplayable no matter how good they are,
because
and like
of power creep, I hate it.
Yes, everything is so fast, and at the end of the day, the mouse package is so fast, and beans are so consistent.
The mono red mice are just dumb. I've seen that played. Yeah. That is not a standard format in which I want to live.
That's fair.
When 4-drops are unplayable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And honestly, though, seeing something like this, I really like the power creep that green and creature-based strategies has been seeing recently. And a good 2-drop rock that only works for creatures, so like it's narrow in its application. But man, that deck wants this.
Yeah, so
I
good.
love that. I think this is fabulous. And yeah, the idea of like giving Shelly one last hurrah before she rotates, cool.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Let's give her a proper send-off.
Hurrah. She had a lot of hurrahs.
Even in something like, an Archfiend of the Dross on turn 3, like there are so many great 4-drops that just pop them on turn 3. Like I've got no qualms. Give me an Axebane Ferox on turn 3. Give me a Decadent Dragon on turn 3. Just solid 4-drop.
On the plus side, the new Siege Rhino is only a 3-power creature.
Yeah, it is. Oh.
Because that's literally when I quit Standard. That is when I quit Standard, is when everybody and their mother's monkey had a Siege Rhino. Like I came back briefly during a time when Theros and Throne of Eldraine was legal. And we ranked up to Mythic in that, and then I played really briefly with the VML during Kamigawa Standard, but and I played like white planeswalkers and stuffs. That was a thing. But I Standard became uninteresting to me when everybody had the same deck and it was a skirmish. Here and it was a Siege Rhino.
Yeah,
now we've got Skirmish Rhino, but it's a 3/4. So yes, it does come down a turn earlier. Yeah. And it does 1 fewer damage. Opponent loses 1 fewer life, and you gain 1 fewer life. But at least it doesn't synergize with that stupid artifact we just showed.
Yes. Whereas it's bigger. Bigger. Yeah, its predecessor here, 100%.
It's Big Bretta.
Yep.
Big Bretta. Yeah.
Good old Siege Rhino.
Yep.
My Abzan heart, I gotta say, it leapt in my chest when I saw Skirmish Rhino. We've talked about it.
It's uncommon though. It's not even rare.
No, this is and I also love it how they made it like unquestionably weaker, but because that reduced the cost, it made the card like a lot. I think a lot better, like a lot more playable, at least in Standard. So anyway,
each opponent. You should notice that it says each opponent.
It does. Each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. So yeah, it scales.
So it is actually
to
playable in some Commander decks if you want.
Yep. Any kind of blink recursion thing. Sidisi can pull it back easily. Do what do with that what you will.
DC loop with Skirmish Rhino now. That's the loop.
Sounds great. I'm on board. But anyway, so Herd Heirloom. This I think is going to be one of those cards that is going to be. I can see this being Standard playable. It is in Commander in Commander creature heavy decks. Creature heavy decks that have access to green. Like this is kind of a slam dunk. This is almost like Mind Stone and like in most like 1 and 2 color decks. Like sure, I might as well put it in there. And that's the floor. So
yeah,
good stuff. So another one that I wanted to talk about, another artifact from the set that I actually think is like sneaky good is Dragonfire Blade. This is an equipment for 1, so you can get it off your Urza Sagas, folks, for anybody who cares about that. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has hexproof from mono colored. And then equip 4, but this ability costs 1 less to activate for each color of the creature it targets. So a creature with 4 different colors can equip this for free, but more realistically, a creature that has 2 or 3 colors, this equips for, 2 or 1 respectively. So hexproof for monocolors, how valuable is that?
Leyline binding exists.
Sure does.
Atraxas form 4 colors. That's all I'm
Something
gonna say.
I love how your go-to is let's make Sheoldred and Atraxa better. Like,
yay!
For the record, though, I don't hate that.
I mean, I don't either.
So hexproof from monocolored is going to be interesting in standard for all of the removal tends to be monocolored.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. It doesn't and the +2/+2 means that whatever it is going to be difficult to block.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So I'm just picturing the Rhino now getting hexproof from monocolored.
Yeah, we were just talking
about 5/6.
At least the Rhino doesn't have 4 power. Oh wait,
now it does. Now I am wary about these, so Dragon Fireblade. It's harkening back to Ghost Fireblade. Ghost Fireblade was 1 mana, and then 3 to equip and cost 2 less if it was equipping a monocolored creature, colorless creature. I think. That did some work in standard very briefly, but not after that. But this one gives hexproof from monocolored, so it's a very different thing. But at the time, there were so many morphs. The Ghost Fireblade was supposed to make the morphs better. And so, but morph itself was just so overcosted that a lot of the time it didn't make it into standard. And so the Ghost Fireblade kind of went by the wayside. And there weren't really artifact decks at that time that were really benefiting from the Ghost Fireblade. There weren't Eldrazi decks either. So this one, though, has just that extra hexproof from monocolored ability, which is really crazy. The question I have will be, so it does sound like you were saying the mana is really, really good in standard. Therefore, it's likely that people will be running creatures that are multicolor. So this may do something. I just know EDH loves this for a lot of reasons, but I don't know, and I'm hoping to hear from both of you how much you think this is going to do in standard. Because mono red is doing all the things right now. So,
right. And I think that's ultimately the question: is are there going to be reasonable multicolored aggressive decks? Is that going to be a thing? Is there going to be a multicolored creature that is strong enough to stand up and match kind of pace with what's going on right now? That has yet to be seen. I love Skirmish Rhino. I think that card is a lot of fun. I will be surprised if it makes it into a meta list. Standard.
What if it's not an aggressive deck? What if this is a control build? And this is just trying to stop, whatever's coming in from, like the mice. Is there anything that you can play that's like 2 mana defensive creature that's 2 colors or something? Then you play this and equip this on 3, and then the mice just don't get through, or whatever aggressive thing they're doing doesn't get through.
I feel like it might be a sideboard card against something like Ketramos or like some of those more mid-rangey control decks, because a lot of the almost all the removal is monocolor. And so
maybe.
Yeah, if your finisher is something, if you're trying to control the game and stick something like an Atraxa or some other dual color, finisher and drive in for the win, this as a sideboard piece against removal heavy decks could be really useful.
Yeah, so it might be more about a control strategy than an aggro, even though it looks like an aggro card.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has the appearance of an aggro card, but I don't see it as aggressive. I see this as like situational sideboard. You're going to bring it in if you're playing around a multicolored creature that you want to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm Reanimator, for example, maybe I want to protect. I'll try not to go back. Coma. Let's say I've got a Coma with board 4 that I'm worried the opponent's going to do something against. I'm going to stick a Dragon Fireblade on a Coma. There we go. I didn't use my shoulder and Atraxa arguments.
Well, and then of course you're playing Coma, so I'm going to ask you, why isn't that Atraxa? But anyway, that's But regardless,
I run both. That's the secret.
There it is. Love it. All right, that's cool. I'm into this. That's an interesting idea, and I feel like the power level and the cost on this card they read well. I think this this could absolutely be a thing. So I'm excited for that. All right. So next up, going from like relatively inexpensive cards that we think might be kind of efficient, low to the ground, respectable in, competitive 1v1 60 card formats. Let's talk about an 8-drop sorcery. This one's
I wanted to do this. Sorry.
Death begets life. 5 black, green, blue. Destroy all creatures and enchantments. Draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way.
Okay, so I was really excited to see this because I am going to hate seeing it played against me in every game ever. However, there are 2 decks that really, really, really want this, and that is your Sultai Artifact decks and your Sultai Atraxa decks, but not the Atraxa you're talking about. The Atraxa Proliferate one, where you're running, for example, Super Friends. So your Planeswalker decks are going to love this, and your Artifact decks are going to love this. And it draws cards, which is nice, but it's really, really reasonably priced for a Wrath. And that's what I wanted to point out. It's not 6 mana, it's 8. It's 5 and 3 of the Sultai. So it's a sorcery speed as well, so that's also important. Right? Destroy all creatures and enchantments. Draw a card for each permanent destroy this way. This is a fair Wrath, in my opinion, because it costs 8 mana. And because it and it's only going to be used in very, very particular decks. It's not like every white deck which could use a Farewell, right? At 6, right? So I think this one, in its mythic, so like you're not going to run into it all the time in limited, for example, but it's a fairly costed Wrath. It's meant to do crazy things, and it's costed at crazy mana, so I do think this is a fun one for certain decks. Obviously, some decks are not going to want it, and that makes it good to me. I like specific decks, Wraths with specific purposes for specific decks that you can justify running because A, they're costed, appropriately here, and B, you're running an Artifact Sultai deck. Go for you, right? And because that's kind of obscure, right? Blue, sure. Black, maybe, right? Green, what? So for your Artifact deck, and for the Atraxa deck, I just want this too because Super Friends, and you don't destroy your Planeswalkers, and then you draw cards, and they can keep their artifacts, and that's fine. So you're not stopping them from perhaps mana, right? Like you haven't destroyed all their mana from their artifacts, and you do hose certain enchantment decks, and that does suck. But Farewell was going to do that anyway, and at 6 mana, so.
Cards I do not miss.
Yeah.
Cards you do not miss.
Honestly.
Well, have you played it EDH recently?
Yeah, I have.
I have Farewell in
tried.
one. I have it in one deck. Honestly, actually, Farewell isn't on the Game Changer list, is it? I feel like that one.
No, it's not.
I feel like that you could.
I feel like it could
there.
hold a spot there. I have it in a couple decks, mostly decks that have no other interaction whatsoever and are not powerful at all anyway.
Oh, see, I have it in one deck that's trying to do a really silly thing where I've just put all my insane power. It's in the same deck that I have Demonic Tutor and stuff like that. Like the deck where I put all of my big, just dumb monstrosities. I have it in there, and that's the only place I have it.
So that was just I wanted to call out this card. It's just a reasonably priced Wrath. It's 8 mana, and it's 3 different colors.
True.
And it's colors that you don't really expect to do what it's going to do. And it's destroy, it's not exile, they don't lose indestructible.
It reminds me of Decree of Pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah, actually.
Yeah, destroy all creatures, but this one allows creatures to regenerate, right?
Yep.
It says draw a card for each creature, and this one's also permanent. So if there's a really deadly enchantment that you're dealing with, this is nice that you can get rid of it.
I like it.
It also rewards you for playing fewer enchantments, so that's just a challenging of deck building as well.
A deck building challenge. That's very cool. Yeah, Astrals, what's up?
You assume people know what creatures with regenerate are, though.
When I was your age.
Oh, you kids don't understand.
Pepper Ridge Farms remembers when regenerate was an evergreen keyword.
Yeah.
It was. There was a time.
And when I'm done gumming my prunes, I will tell you what it was.
Every now and then I have a bunch of cards from the original Mirrodin block and the OG Ravnica block, and there are a couple of cards that have regenerate, but they're not super common. They're trying to taper off, but they're there. Every time I look at troll aesthetic, I'm just like, I want this in my deck because it has hexproof. But there's
Troll
regenerate on
aesthetic
there.
was so good.
Dude, troll aesthetic was amazing.
I used to play that all the time in my green decks. I was so happy. We would play in college. We would play until 5 in the morning and in the hall, and that was one of my I love that card.
It's
and Thrun the Last Troll is still there, right?
Yep. Oh yeah,
That's very true.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Sorry.
Big fan.
We're
just gonna boomer. Yeah.
Yes, bit of boomer magic here.
Boomer nerd out for a second. All right. Yeah, Troll Aesthetic. Actually, I'm running it in my Brokos Mutate deck. Mutate players.
Oh, of course
if you don't already have this one, get it in there.
You schmuck. Yeah.
A+, love it. It's beautiful.
It's a 3/2 hexproof. 1 and green regenerate for 3 mana, so 1 and 2 green. It's a crazy good card.
Yeah, and when this was in Standard, if I'm not mistaken, it was kind of the boogeyman of the format. Like it was. I can't believe they printed this. What the heck were they thinking?
Good little troll. It
back in the day, because it was sticky.
Yeah,
you had a hard time getting rid of it.
You couldn't kill it. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. All right, speaking of things refusing to die, let's take a look at another gigantic sorcery. Paranation. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is 3 white, black, green. Abzan for the win. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a hexproof counter and an indestructible counter on it.
So I like that it didn't gain hexproof or gain indestructible, because these are still counters, which are interesting. So that can be a benefit and something that detracts, because you can double those counters. For example, you have effects that can double those counters, but you also have effects that can remove counters, right? From various permanents. So it's an interesting thing for me. But hexproof and indestructible on a 6 mana recursion spell. Yes, it's a little bit mana intensive as far requiring Abzan things as opposed to the normal. But the normal thing you get is 5 mana, right? Recursion spells, right? Or 4 mana recursion spells. So to pay 1 each for a hexproof and an indestructible counter seems fair to me.
Worth it.
So I liked this card as a big, dumb, can still be countered, sorcery speed, just make something big and burr.
Heck yeah.
I have one gripe.
Ooh.
And I love this card, don't get me wrong. It's fine. Abzan is great. This fits in, the counters and stuff. All I'm gonna do is, if we go back to that siege that we talked about earlier, where it said Sultai, if it has a counter on it, draw a card.
Yep.
But this is Abzan. That's an Abzan mechanic. I'm gonna tie that in.
Yeah. Abzan is the counter.
Fair.
Sultai is not a counter-based thing.
Yes.
We have concluded, as Ham said, that they were designing those more for synergy and less for story or lore-wise thing. And I actually don't like when they do that. I really prefer it to be designed for lore and story-wise stuff, especially when it's a follow-up revisit to a set, because if they then break what the clan is meant to do, they deny a clan its features, its characteristics, its life, its embodiments, right? Then I don't like that. So I'm with, it sounds like we're all in agreement about that. We prefer it to be story and sort of feel appropriate.
Yeah, flavor consistency.
So I'm with you.
Clutch.
I'm with you. Naughty wizards. Don't do that.
Naughty wizards messing in our trifling games of cardboard and magics with friends of gathering places.
Do this to our clans.
But at the end of the day, freaking indestructible and hexproof on
Paranation,
and it's a permanent.
yes.
It's a permanent. This isn't just a creature.
It's a permanent.
Being able to recur permanents is absolutely a 5 mana thing. Think Invasion of Talvada, Invoke Justice, any of that stuff. So one more so that it never leaves again, practically.
It's mine now. Honestly. Yes.
Seems good. Yeah.
So they can make you sacrifice it, but that's about it.
That's about it. Yeah.
And they have to have a specific spell to make you sacrifice it, essentially.
Yeah.
Unless it's a creature and they blasphemous edict and stuff,
Well, yeah. So I don't anticipate, this replacing Abuelo's Awakening in that Omniscience combo deck in Standard or anything crazy like that. But I might still try it.
There's no reason not to.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, just an indestructible hexproof
Omniscience. Yeah, seems good.
Seems all right. Yeah, and the next one that I cast, it doesn't matter that it costs 6. It was free for me, so that's seems good. All right. Speaking of reducing the cost on things, I'm gonna keep trying to get these segues down. Next up, let's take a look at the Sib Sig ceremony, which is a very fun.
Okay, so I put this on here because I was like, okay, so this is a cool freaking card. I love when Magic makes things difficult for you, but in a cool way.
Yeah, when
So
it
this is
rewrites
3 black mana.
Yeah.
It's a legendary enchantment, so you can't have more than one, unless you get something that demos things and makes legendary things not apply. But it says creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Oh, got it. And so whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, destroy that creature, then create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. So I love this because obviously you can start casting giant things sooner or small things sooner, and do multiples of them. They are then replaced. They go to the graveyard and they're replaced with 2/2 black zombie druid creature tokens. Now that means you still get the ETBs, right? And then they're now in your graveyard for that little Sidisi that I talked about. And then you can make things work around creatures dying. You can make things work around creatures coming back. You can obviously still attack with those 2/2 black zombie druid creature tokens. I love this card. There's so many things that I want to do with it, but I love that it forces me to be creative in how I build my deck. And I'm so excited for this for EDH. I don't like it in limited. Obviously, I'm sorry. I think it's awful in limited. Unless there might be, when we see the full reveal, there may be things that synergize with it you could possibly build around. But I'm pretty sure, like there were going to be times maybe that you got something that has innate recursion from the graveyard that would be great to do this with over and over. But like, yeah. Anyway, sorry. That's my thoughts.
No, it's great. And this alongside the like Not Dead After All style like Malakir Rebirth effects is just delightful. Yeah. So you can get it. It's a fun build around challenge. Yeah, good stuff. Cool. Astros, take it away.
I was just gonna say the flavor of it. I love that how this just encompasses what Sultai has preached in their stories and they've said and they've talked about. Right, like life doesn't begin when it begins. Life begins after the death, and this. I think this is just a home run flavor-wise. I don't know where it's going to fit in deck-wise. So cool. I mean, Commander does great, but flavor-wise, this is just A+ for me. I like it.
Fantastic. Oh, my goodness. So, looking at the clock, I want to be conscious of you guys' time. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm curious, Astrals, so this is your first episode of the MagicJank Podcast, hopefully of many in the future.
Definitely.
Before we kind of take it in for a landing, are there any specific cards that you wanted to talk about from this set? Yeah. Like, what are you most excited about?
Can I say everything?
I mean, that is acceptable, but if you wouldn't mind narrowing it down, that'd be great.
Honestly, I'll narrow it down. I think it's already been touched on a few of the previous episodes, but I'm a big favor of all the Spirit Dragons. I do think each of their individual mechanics is going to lend itself into a strategy in Standard that, while I won't say will be a tier 1, will be something interesting. Like if we look at Abzan for Baylor with Toughness Matters, we have Bedrock Tortoise. We have, our big 215 Hull Breacher, Pride of the Hull Clan.
Pride of Hull Clan,
there is a toughness. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you have Doran's the Sea Tower, which allows you to do damage equal to your toughness, right? And you can play all of the things you would play in that, including the walls and the salt formation that allows the walls to attack. And
but crazy enough, the stuff that Astros was mentioning is currently in Standard.
Yeah.
Like, this is all really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
all Standard.
Like, oh my God,
we have a lot of
awesome.
really
I can't wait to
big...
see your build of this.
We got a lot of Toughness Matters in Standard, but that isn't
I was all excited about it for EDH, but
that hasn't really seen any play. Well, and we talked about Betor specifically last episode. Damien brought it up because he pointed out, like, you could ignore all the text beyond that first sentence, because as long as you just have a 3/3 down next to Betor, you're just drawing another card every turn. Like,
absolutely, you're getting a 5/7 flyer for 5 mana. Like, what?
That's all gravy. That's all good. Yeah.
It's just all good. Like each of them has something that is supported in Standard, and I think can not so much say a build around, but we could actually see like a surfacing of a really cool archetype to just push Standard into an even more diverse meta than what we already are. Like Baylor with some Toughness Matters in Avs, and you look at Shiko. There's Jeskai Prowess stuff that's been kicking around. There's the Jeskai with the Oculus. Like you could run potentially a couple of Shikos in there. Because guess what? It says non-land card with mana value 3 or less. Guess what's 3 mana? Your Oculus.
Crazy.
Why not? Right?
Yeah. We were just talking about how much, building, and when it comes to Commander, building it around freaking Sun Titan. This is a Sun Titan in your command zone, kind of, or it can be. Like that's and it can do more. Like it's.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
and it doesn't need to attack. It's just ETB. Okay, let me get a 4/5 flyer with vigilance. Let me then just get a free 3-mana spell.
Yeah,
Great.
and the idea of that also being a 5/5 flyer that manifests each turn, like that's bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan. The Spirit Dragons are all hit fronts for me. Like, you look at Teyval, like Delve, we have a lot of self-mill stuff going on right now. I know I've said about the Crab and the Valarian Terror deck, but the Delve mechanic coming in, costing you life. Life is now a resource in a Delve mechanic where you're just gonna keep milling. That seems great to me. It's also a 6/6 flyer. Nariv from Mardu, like a Mardu aggro deck. There's the enchantment that now is basically Ishin on a stick.
Yep.
That pairs in with Nariv. Like, okay, this is a 4-mana card. Like this fit Mardu aggro with a top curve of Nariv where I'm spitting out tokens that now do double damage.
Doesn't Ishin doesn't Ishin just double the attack trigger?
Which is
it
what
does.
the enchantment does.
Yes, the enchantment does that, and the mobilize mechanic in Mardu is when the creature attacks, you make tokens. So if you can double that, you make even more tokens.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Nariv the dragon. I was like, that just doubles the damage.
It would double the damage, but if you have the enchantment, you're doubling the mobilize.
Is it a siege that does that?
Yeah, it's
okay. And you can run Zergo and keep the little 1/1s later.
You sure can.
Absolutely.
The opportunity is absolutely there to get absolutely silly with this. So
it's huge. And I mean, my favorite for last, because I'm gonna make this as a thing, is Ureni. Like that Teamer Landfall. This is gonna be Nissa Aftermath Analyst. I'm gonna play a 10/10 dragon. I'm gonna blow up the board and swing it. I'm gonna have my World's Fire, my World Soul's Rage. Like, it's great. I love the set is amazing.
Yeah, Lumra is just going to reach up and give Ureni a high five. Yeah,
True. Well, the set. This to me, I think we've all kind of said it at different points and independent of each other. This set to me feels like a Magic set of old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not to say I haven't liked what's currently out there, but like this is the spells, the flavor, the nostalgia. Like Universes Beyond, they're great. It's fun. Aether Drift was kind of corny but interesting. Thunder Junction was Cowboys. Like it was cool too. But this just makes my nostalgic heart thinking back to days of Scourge, and I'm just a happy 10-year-old kid again playing dragons.
Yes,
love it,
dude. I'm with you. It's a return to form and a welcome one.
And now we can gum our prunes and play with dragons.
Hooray!
Back in my day, I had to pay 10 mana for a 4/4.
You don't understand.
And then it had downside too.
Oh my
We
goodness.
thought Trained Org was a good card.
Yeah. I played with Visidrix. You kids don't understand. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I still want to play with Visidrix ever since they did the Monty Python version of it. That rabbit's dynamite.
I don't think I've seen that. How have I not seen that?
Is it Khazardrix or Visidrix that's the bunny?
Yeah,
Visidrix is a bunny. Yeah.
Visidrix the bunny. Yeah. Oh wait, it's Khazardrix that they did the.
I think it's Khazardrix, yeah.
Yeah, Khazardrix, right? That they did the bunny from Monty Python.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That rabbit's dynamite. I want to run it just for that reason, but it's such a god awful card that I
have a ton. I have a ton of bad suboptimal cards in decks that like kind of synergize with them a little because it's just every Stompy deck that I have ever had in any Commander deck ever that had green had a Thorn Elemental in it. And I'm not sorry.
We should do a MagicJank challenge where we build the worst Commander deck you can possibly build. But the problem is we'll all come up with the same damn cards.
Probably, yeah.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Well, like we're talking about the worst that could feasibly win a game, right? Like that it like can function.
Yeah, well, Khazardrix would be one of those. Khazardrix could actually be running that, but like Zephyr Spirit could not.
We could not.
Yeah, we'd have to have a ban list, and yeah, Zephyr Spirit would absolutely be on it. Yeah. Anyway,
hear me out. We do the Toxrill challenge. We each pick like a monocolor commander, and it's 60 lands in the deck, and it's that commander.
The Toxrill challenge, by the way, for the audience out there. So a couple years back, Astrals, it was like 2 years ago, right? Now at MagicCon Vegas, Astrals challenged me. Was it Vegas or was that? Anyway, Astrals challenged me to build a Toxrill deck that was Toxrill and like 70 lands and mana rocks. And that's literally it. The 99 was only mana production with a Toxrill in the command zone. With kind of this question of Toxrill is busted and feels like it can solo a game. So can it actually? Let's put that to the test. And funnily enough, I played it in one pod, and I'm never going to do that again because I want to keep my friends. And funnily enough, Damien was actually in that pod, and he brought a fairies deck. Poor guy. It was brutal. so yeah.
Many slugs.
It was so many
fairies.
slugs. I did get taken out. It did not get the job done, but it made an impact on the board. Like, it was real. It was kind of silly. So, yes. So the Toxtrol challenge. Build a commander that you think is so nuts it can take over the game by itself and give it no support and see what happens. It's actually kind of fun to see. But anyway.
We should do an extension of this and do like the few we didn't get to. I would love that.
I'm down. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Absolutely. Because we actually, going into this, we had a really sizable list, but unfortunately, time is what it is. So, yeah, I'm more than happy to get us back together another time and, put out a bonus episode or something. I'm all for that.
Definitely.
But yeah, in the meantime, let's go ahead and take it in for landing. So, Astrals, Headology, do you guys have anything coming up that you want to let the folks know about before we sign off?
Dragons are coming. Be ready.
What else do you need to know? That's it.
That's it.
Oh my goodness. Awesome.
I'm just still trying to. I'm going to be doing a lot of Cube. I'm so excited about Cube. Ether Drift was a bit of a miss for me overall. But we did make Mythic, so now I can just focus on Cube and netting some gold. So I'm really excited about Cube. See what new additions there are. See which new alchemy cards I get to hate. And go from there. So it's mostly limited at that. Do have some projects in the works that I'm really excited about, but can't talk about yet. Yeah. So, and I can't wait to see everybody in Vegas, and I'm excited to see MagicJank people in Vegas. And if you get to come to Vegas, hopefully you run up to any of us that you see, the MagicJank people, and just come say hi and come ask for a game. We want to play with you. That's what we're there for. That's the highlight of my life, is just like going and playing with you all. So keep us posted. Make your plans for Vegas when you can. We've got links up on our socials if you'd like to click on those. You can find and Astrals, where can people find you?
I am everywhere on the interwebs at Astralsflame. There is an S between the L and the F because people seem to forget that at sometimes, as I've found over the years. But you can find me everywhere. If there's a post about a dragon, I'm there.
Excellent. And link trees and whatnot are going to be in the description, so definitely check that out, as well as other members of the team. They're all lovely people. Go drop follows. So yes, thanks so much. Thanks so much, guys. This was awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Let's do this again sometime.
Thank you.
All right.
Definitely.
Later, everybody. Catch you on the next one.